Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. European Union leaders have pledged to significantly bolster their defences in response to rising threats from Russia and other global challenges. At a recent summit in Brussels, they agreed on the need for increased defence spending, but questions remain about how this surge will be funded. As Poland takes over the presidency of the EU Council, it will host a two-day meeting on Thursday with the College of Commissioners of the European Union in Gdansk, Poland. On the agenda are the EU's security priorities. Well, to discuss the EU's defence strategy, the need to fill critical gaps in military capabilities and the financial hurdles to funding these ambitions, we are joined by Jolanta, Szymańska, an EU expert at the Polish Institute of International Affairs and a regular contributor. Welcome back, Jolanta. Good to see you.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, what's taking the EU so long? I mean, Russia invaded 3 years ago, and it's only now that they realise that there is a need for defence spending?
No, of course not. The European Union did as much as it was possible, actually, under the current budgetary perspective. Let's take into account that we also had previous crises, such as pandemic, for example. So member states used a lot of flexibilities in the budget to make it best. But now we are opening somehow discussion about the next multilateral financial framework. So this summit, the Monday summit in Brussels, with European leaders, but also with the Secretary General of NATO and the British Prime Minister, was another attempt to find a additional finding in this new circumstances, because the new in this context is Donald Trump in Washington, new American administration, potential war, tariff war with United States, so many other new elements in this puzzle. That's why this discussion become more and more urgent. But European Union already started discussion about new defense strategy in 2 years ago almost. So it's a part of this discussion. And what we know after the summit is that Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the Commission, enhance member states to spend more on defense. She announced that she is going to use the emergency brake in the Pact of Stability and Growth to push member states to spend more from the national...
What does that mean exactly?
It means that she will not be very restrict when it comes to budgetary limitations, because member states should not should meet limitations of this pact in
terms of their budgets.
In terms of the budget. So this will be not so restrictive. She will be more liberal in this terms. So this is one thing, and the other thing is the question, still a very open question, how we are going to spend money from future European budget on defense, but also on other issues like competitiveness of our economy and so on, and our priorities, new priorities. We know that there are countries, frugals, the very frugal countries that are not very open for rising the contribution from national budget to the European budget. That's why we focus our discussion on common debt or new own resources, so new common taxes in the European Union.
So taxing whom?
mainly foreigners, as we say. We discuss slowly, for example, the options for carbon border tax, potentially new digital taxes. But this is something what we discuss still among experts, because member states are going to start this discussion seriously in March, because the first summit on next budgetary perspective will start in March during the summit.
Okay, so March, where budgetary talks continue.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound as though there's any kind of hard decisions being made at the moment in terms of how much to spend on the increase in defence spending and what parts of the budget cannot be funded alongside increased military spending. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, I mean, we still have very, very general discussion because we have really big differences between countries. For example, Poland, we spend almost 5% of GDP, showing us as an example for the others. But we are almost sure that the others will not be able to spend as much as we do. We also have very difficult situation politically in some member states. Look at Germany, for example, how they can decide about military spending if they have elections actually at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So we have to wait, especially that Germany is the biggest player when it comes to money in the European Union. So everybody is waiting for Germany, in fact, because we know that potential new chancellor of Germany can be more, for example, open for a common debt than the current one. So we still need to wait a little bit, but it's good that we discuss. But just to mention, it's not only one topic that we discuss in the
I'm sure that's true.
In the European Union.
So I was going to ask you, what else came out of that meeting in Brussels?
In Brussels, well, this meeting was strange somehow because the topic was defense and defense spending, but the obvious context was the Trump warnings about trade war. So leaders also discussed somehow in the meantime, the potential European Union response to this tariff war. We know that we have special task in the European Commission that works on a potential European response. Ursula von der Leyen announced that this response would be very harsh, so more Canadian style than the Mexican one, but still European Union is open and try to avoid this tariff war. That's why we don't want to make this discussion premature,
right?
Somehow.
Well,
so
I mean, Trump has suspended the tariffs on both Canada and Mexico.
Exactly. So
it sounds as though there's a deal to be made there. Now, Poland is hosting the EU commissioners over the next couple of days. What do you expect the main thrust of those conversations to be?
Well, the idea is that ministers from our Polish government and sectoral commissioner will discuss on bilateral level somehow. So they will discuss sectoral topics. So migration pact that you mentioned, that is hotly discussed in Poland, will be for sure the topic to discuss between our Minister of Interior and Commissioner on migration. And foreign policy, for example, Middle East situation, warning or announcement again from Trump about taking over Gaza. It's a good topic to discuss, but it will be kind of also symbolic meeting, because we are a country of a presidency, so the college, the new college actually of the Commission, will visit the country of presidency to show the will of cooperation. So it's a more symbolic meeting, I would say.
Well, you say symbolic, but I mean, you know, Poland currently holds the presidency of the EU Council. How much influence does it have on future EU strategy in this role?
Well, we can see that our ambition, the governmental ambition, is to change narrative in some discussions, as we are at the beginning of political cycle. And we see it, the last week meeting of Justice and Home Minister, for example, about this migration pact and migration challenges, was a kind of attempt to change the direction of this discussion from the internal side to external dimension, because ministers were discussed options and potential for creation, for example, centers for migrants outside the European Union, what they call innovative solutions on migration. So this is what presidency is trying to do, but from the other hand, we need to take into consideration that this is the beginning of the cycle. That's why we should not expect very, very concrete results at the end of the presidency, so at the end of June.
All right, but we can hopefully at least get things moving in that direction, because Poland is very much on the front lines, is it not, in terms of the hybrid warfare that's being used against the migrants at the border. And of course, it's got a border with Ukraine and with Russia, Kaliningrad, so it's certainly vulnerable. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, Jolanta. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, as always, but for your insights, and do come and see us again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
And that's all from us in this episode of World Talks. Goodbye.